What's going on, guys? It is Shane with Blacktop Racing here, and we are at the WDCR event number 4. Today is going to go through the good old course walk. So it's a lovely day today. Oh man, it feels so nice. So let's go ahead and check it out. So here we're just gonna pull up. This is where the start is going to have you going. So we want to check out our first element. So as we look up where Kate is going, we actually have a nice hill climb here. And then we're going into a kind of a lane change. And then we're going to go over 45 degrees to the left. And then we're going to be making a big old climb up the hill. So let's get started here. So as I'm getting started, I'm just eyeing out, trying to make sure that I can get through this area here. And this is all throttle all the time. So as we're climbing. Full throttle up. Now one thing here is that you can actually see by people walking that it's about a 45-degree angle to the left. So what you actually want to do when you're going up this hill is that I'm going to focus on actually backsiding this cone. So if I backside this cone and I actually get the car this way to kind of treat this as a slalom, my backside angle on the third cone is actually going to put me where I want with probably only a lift depending on my velocity here. So as I backside this one, I'm already looking ahead and I'm just telling myself just turn in and hold it. So just as though I backside this cone just like a slalom, you'll see what happens. So as soon as we backside this guy, we're going to end up right in this opening. And then you're already back on the throttle. So depending on your velocity coming up the hill, you may just have to ease off. Not too much, just not even a full lift, just an ease, and then get back on it just as far as car positioning. So as we go through here, the next turn that you're actually going to see up front is actually more than 45 degrees. So on this one, you're actually going to need some brakes here, because as we look up the hill, we have it starting up to the usual right-hander at the top of the hill. So what we want to do, your car is going to be tracked out towards this wall just because of speed. So what we want to do, we're going to actually do a midline here, unless you can get over. But try to see if you can bring the car over. But this turn, as we're right here, we want to kind of check this angle. So you can see that we can't take this full throttle because the gap between that cone and that cone is a little too close in order to try and take this corner really fast. So what we're going to do is we're going to worry about positioning here between there and here. And I'm actually going to force myself to come over because it's more beneficial to give up speed in this area versus and carry the speed around this corner versus trying to brake really hard is the way that I feel. But it all depends on the car, of course. If I was more in a momentum car, then I'll give up some speed in the back. And then if I'm more of a power car, then I'll worry about just V'ing it off and getting on the brakes. All right, so right here, there's no point in adding a bunch of distance. We actually see with the right-hander, we have another right-hander going around and going down the hill. So it's kind of a teardrop here. So there's actually no point in getting too far off of this cone. So I'm just gonna go ahead and hug this up the hill. And as I'm coming up, the only reason why I'm going up the hill just a bit is just so that way I can soften up this right-hand turn. So here, it's a little rise. So I'm gonna go ahead and start turning in and try to hit this cone, which I'm not gonna be able to. As we're coming around, what we're trying to eye in is where we gotta go. So that's the outside cone, but then this is a little pincher as we're making this right-hander. So this cutting distance is gonna be the name of the game here, so we actually can get a good run down the hill. So as we come in, momentum is actually gonna most likely pitch us over here where these parking spots are. And from right here, try to pivot the car and hit this cone again, but you want to get a nice hard pivot. If not, you want to climb up a little bit so that way you can get a good run on the downhill slalom, as you can see. No point in adding a bunch of distance. All it is just, hey, can we get into this area as efficiently as possible? So as we go down, we just got a nice little slalom here going into a wall. So let's just scan our area. So we got a slalom, then we got a wall kind of to an open area. So right where those gentlemen are, you can see that that already pays off, and that's already how far I'm looking ahead to just try and see how I want to attack this last cone. So as we come here, I got my little flapper going. Sorry, trying to fix my hat at the same time. So this is just standard right here. That's why I'm not really talking too much. So you got your slalom, Got rid of my flaps. Now, since we're downhill, we're gonna obviously still backside this cone. So there isn't much room to actually accelerate out of here down the hill. So we're gonna continue to backside that last cone and then backside this one. So coming up at the wall is actually offset against us. So what we want to do is go ahead and backside this guy and then get our position to kind of fit right in this gap. So as you come over here, if you're flying down the hill, just be disciplined because your payoff is going to be now. So from right here, you should already have been on the throttle, and then you're just trying to fit in this gap, and it's just flying down the hill straight away. Now, if you're too close to this wall, that means next time you need to check up and backside that cone. So that's one thing that people are going to get a little bit greedy on. You just want to make sure that you stay disciplined at that wall on the approach, because your payoff is all this. Look at this real estate. Bam, straight down the hill. And from right here, if you do that wrong, you're gonna lose at least a half second, at least. All right, so what's coming up next? As I'm charging down the hill, I already know there's a wall there, but let's scan ahead. This cone is all the way out there. It's not our usual where it's kind of sitting up here. So we actually have to charge all the way down the hill and then climb back up to that gate. And then we have another cone, little gate up there. But I'm really just worried about that gate and that cone. So I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna do my threshold braking before this. Remember, we're going downhill. So the car's gonna act a little weird. It's gonna wanna understeer as we're trying to make this turn in. Just stay disciplined with it. But just realize that from that cone, from this cone to that cone, there's a lot of parking spaces, and it's further down the hill than you think. So you don't have to do too much threshold braking there as far as trying to get the car stopped. You're actually going to continuously sweep it down to the bottom of the hill. You're just trying to not carry too much momentum to hit those cones right there. So we're just going to carry it down, start turning in. We're going to turn in a little early. As soon as we start passing those cones, we're going to start our turning because it's going to make us understeer and kind of bring us out. So this is including the understeer. I'm gonna try and hit this cone, knowing that the momentum most likely isn't gonna let me, and then continuously bring this up. If we go ahead and keep this nice and tight on the uphill, we're cutting distance. Now you're gonna see some people adding some distance back there at the turnaround. There's actually no benefit. So you're just gonna play it by ear, play it by grip, and then you're just gonna continue cutting distance. The reason being, if I'm tight on here, I'm gonna get through this box nice and tight, and that's gonna have me over on the left side for this right slalom entry going up the hill. So just carve this all the way around. Stay tight on the left wall cones, and that'll put you in great position for the entry of the slalom. Now, the double pointer for the slalom actually is offset in our favor versus the next slalom cone. So as I keep nice and tight here, already can tell that Sam is going to get packs for today, even though it's non-comp. So as we come around here, just start your turn in and start charging up this hill. Look at that payday. So straight up the hill, slalom, 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 and then we gotta go over to the left side because there's a right-hander up top of the hill. So that right-hander is gonna go right, and then there's my gate that I'm worried about next. So as I go through these slaloms, I can accelerate through, but then I also have to worry about that cutoff for the right-hander and my braking. So remember, when you're walking the slaloms, pretend like you're in a car. For the cones on the left, you're gonna be closer. For the cars on the right, you're gonna be a little bit further, because your car is at least 3 feet wide from the driving position. So as I'm approaching right here, what I'm trying to eye out is my arc. So from there, entry, going all the way over to there. So you can already see Jen kind of climb up the hill. So you can see that this is a good acceleration point as you're coming out of the slalom. And you can see that for the next element is actually turning in. So we have to be on the right side. And what's even worse is that the next element is all the way over there to the left. So this one is going to be interesting.
You are on the course. You just off the course. You need to be present for the mandatory drivers meeting. Now at 8:40.
So as we go around, we're gonna jog it out so that way we can get to the meeting. So just being tight on there, no need to add a bunch of distance, because as you're adding a bunch of distance, you're just gonna end up being way off. So we're gonna go ahead, stay tight on here. The camera does a pretty good job. Let's switch it. All right, so as you're climbing through here, staying tight, what I'm looking at is this right-hander. I'm gonna go ahead and stay over to the left so that way I can see where that pointer is. That guy right there, I'm gonna try and get right in there because there's another pointer right afterwards. So we just gotta fit in there. So I'm gonna stay over to the left, carve this, and this is a nice steady arc that's going around. My next element is gonna be a slalom, so it's kind of a pincher cone that we just passed. Just kind of carve through here. Oh man, I wish I had my car. Go through here, then it's just a little lane change as we have the double pointer to right, and then we're coming to a finish. So right here, one big thing is that there's a big bump here, which is gonna unsettle the car since you wanna backside that cone. So keep that in mind as you're coming around here. It's gonna unsettle the car a bit. Backside, and here you're gonna try and scrub some speed so that way you can make this, it's not exactly a 90, I wanna say a 70-degree turn, so you can't take this flat. So I'm gonna worry about positioning after that cone to get over just a little, not too hard. I'm not gonna try too hard, and just get really close to this cone and run to the wall. So here we go. All right, so all good. So that is it, folks. This course actually looks fun, fast, has some technical spots for you. So you just gotta be careful. One of the things on here is that you don't wanna add too much distance trying to carry too much speed. Unless you're a big, even if you're a big horsepower car, unless you're a big horsepower car that just cannot carve very well. That means taking the sweeping line. If you can't carve, then you gotta V it off, and just cutting distance and power out is the best way to do it. So those WRX guys, which I'll be doing some WRX video later, and then also a BRZ. So it's gonna be interesting, the different lines that I'm most likely gonna have to take because of those two cars. I can't sweep with the WRX, but I can sweep with the BRZ. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for the sponsors in Agile Auto, along with Apex Junkie. Check them out at their site below. Hit the like button or subscribe if you're watching this, and I'm going to join the meeting. I'll catch you guys later.